When Suzane von Richthofen reported that she found her parents dead in their home in 2002, investigators walked into a scene that was obviously a robbery gone wrong. Or was it? Once they started really looking at the scene, it became apparent that the robbery was staged and the killer was closer than they thought. This is Monsters. Suzane von Richthofen was born on November 3, 1983 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Her father Manfred von Richthofen was a German engineer who worked for DERSA, which is the government department that works to maintain state roads. He shared the same name as the famous World War I pilot, the Red Baron, and Manfred claimed that he was his great-nephew. Her mother, Maricia von Richthofen, was a psychiatrist, and Suzane had a younger brother named Andreas. The von Richthofens were very comfortable financially. Manfred and Maricia had met at the University of Sao Paulo while Manfred was studying engineering and Maricia was attending medical school. After they graduated, they went to Germany to continue their studies, eventually returning to Brazil where Manfred became the engineering director at DERSA and Maricia opened her own psychiatry practice. Suzane's education stood out from an early age. She graduated from a German high school and enrolled in law at the Pontifical Catholic University of Sao Paulo. Her linguistic talent shone through as she mastered 3 languages by the age of 18. Her life changed dramatically in 1999 when she met Daniel Cravinhos, her brother's model airplane instructor. Her parents approved of their relationship at first. Their attitude shifted as they grew worried about Daniel's working-class roots, lack of employment, and marijuana use. The tension peaked in July of 2002. Suzane let Daniel move in while her parents were on vacation. Her father rejected her request to buy them an apartment after returning. He told her she needed to earn her own money to live as she wanted. The couple's relationship went underground. Daniel introduced Suzane to a world of drugs and she began smoking marijuana, taking ecstasy, and huffing paint thinner and glue. Her grades started suffering as her study schedule began to revolve around what Daniel wanted. Her parents made their final stand in May of 2002 and banned her from seeing Daniel. They gave her the choice to stay with Daniel and be cut off financially or leave him and get her life back together. Like many teenagers, her parents' dislike of Daniel only pushed her closer to him. Suzane meticulously planned her parents' murders months ahead, coming up with something she believed would not lead back to her or her accomplices. On October 31, 2002, she snuck into her parents' house and checked to make sure they were sound asleep. Then she disabled the security system by simply punching in the code. After that, she let her boyfriend Daniel and his brother Christian Cravinhos inside. The brothers came prepared with modified iron bars that had baseball bat-like handles to protect their hands. They entered the bedroom and struck Manfred and Maricia repeatedly with devastating force. By the time they were done, the walls and ceiling were spattered with blood, but the couple weren't dead. Suzane waited downstairs while the brothers strangled her parents with towels. Maricia begged the attackers to spare her children, not knowing her daughter had coordinated the entire attack. The trio ransacked the house in order to stage a robbery after confirming both parents were dead. Suzane knew the lock code for her father's briefcase, which contained cash. Then they deliberately damaged it to make it look like a theft. They took the equivalent of approximately $7,000. Once the plan was complete, Daniel and Suzane went to a motel to create alibis while Christian ate at a fast food restaurant. The following day, Suzane and Daniel picked up Suzane's 15-year-old brother Andreas from an internet cafe and returned home to quote-unquote find the crime scene. They alerted emergency services, but the plan fell apart quickly. The police spotted inconsistencies in their story and were suspicious about the perpetrator's knowledge of the alarm code. When investigators questioned Suzane and Andreas about whether their parents activated the alarm every night, they both said yes. That meant that whoever had committed the crime had to have known the family well enough to know the security code. Then the investigators noticed that the ransacking had been done in an oddly organized manner. Instead of a stack of papers being pushed away, causing them to fly everywhere, they were picked up and put on the floor in what seemed to be a more organized order. They determined that the scene had definitely been staged. When they checked alibis, Andreas's was solid, but Suzane's wasn't so great. She had been at a hotel and hadn't checked in until after the crime was estimated to have been committed. Her behavior was also suspicious, as she was too relaxed and her and Daniel's stories matched too perfectly, like they had been rehearsed. Authorities decided to keep an eye on them and noticed that, immediately after police left the house, Suzane and Daniel jumped in the pool and seemed to be having a happy little celebration. They were splashing and laughing while her parents' bedroom was still covered in their blood. Everybody grieves differently, but that's pretty weird. Then on the same day as her parents' funeral, Suzane held a birthday party for herself at the same house where they had been murdered. She and Daniel left the funeral, drove back to her parents' home, and had a birthday party. Yay! Investigators were sure that Suzane and Daniel were involved in the murders, but they didn't have any solid evidence. That's when a new lead landed in their lap. Only a few days after the murders, Christian purchased a motorcycle in cash with 36 $100 bills. Like Daniel, Christian did not have a steady job, and him suddenly being $3,600 richer directly after the murders caused investigators to bring him in for another round of questioning. He ended up giving the authorities enough info that they were able to arrest all three of them and charge them with the murders of Manfred and Maricia von Richthofen. Different stories about motives came to light as prosecutors built their case against Suzane and the Cravinhos brothers. The prosecution team showed that Suzane helped coordinate the murders to get her hands on her parents' estate valued at approximately $17 million. Though some of that money the Brazilian government believes Manfred embezzled from Dursa. The chief prosecutor said, quote, "She wanted freedom and independence without having to work for it." The trial started on July 17, 2006, and all but one of the defendants pointed fingers at each other. Suzane claimed, quote, "I couldn't resist his spell. He was like a god for me," saying Daniel would leave her if she didn't help kill her parents. Obviously, Daniel told a different story. He testified that Suzane convinced him to commit the murders and claimed she had been sexually abused by her father, an accusation she strongly denied as a perverse lie. Public fascination with the trial ran high. 5,000 people tried to get one of just 80 available seats in the courtroom. TV Justica even thought about broadcasting the trial live. On July 22nd, all three defendants were found guilty of their charges. Suzane von Richthofen and Daniel Cravinhos each got sentences of 39 years and 6 months, while Christian Cravinhos received 38 years and 6 months. The court called the murders 3 times qualified because of their cruelty, defenseless victims, and morally sordid motivations. Suzane started serving her sentence at the women's prison in Tremembe, Sao Paulo after the verdict. Her life went through remarkable changes during her 16 years behind bars. In October of 2014, she announced her marriage to Sandra Gomez, another inmate serving 27 years for kidnapping and killing a teenager. The couple married and moved from the evangelical wing to the married prisoner's cell to make the relationship possible. Her televised interview in February of 2015 became a turning point when she showed remorse for her actions and admitted planning the murders with the Cravinhos brothers. She focused on her education during that time and qualified for a student loan in 2017 to study business administration. She had divorced Sandra Gomez in 2015. Shocking that that relationship didn't pass the test of time. She married Rogerio Olberg in 2017, a man she had met when out of prison on a conditional release for Mother's Day. That relationship ended in divorce in 2020. The court allowed her daily release to study pharmacy by 2021. She was granted probation on January 11, 2023 after she served just under 20 years. She moved to rural Angatuba at first and settled with her boyfriend, physician Felipe Munez. The couple were married in December of 2023, and she changed her name to Magnani Munez, taking both her maternal grandmother's surname and her partner's. Suzane gave birth to her first child, a son named Felipe, at her husband's workplace hospital on January 27, 2024. Public opinion remains divided about her attempts to build a new life, particularly after she announced plans to open an online business following her release. Both Daniel and Christian remain in prison. Suzane was another privileged child who believed that nothing should stand in the way of getting what she wanted, even murder. Some believe she changed in prison and now has a new life after paying her debt to society. Others think she doesn't deserve to live a life with a happy family when she destroyed her own family. She lives a pretty quiet life, but only time will tell if she's really a new woman or if she will again show herself to be a monster. Thanks for watching This Is Monsters. New episodes are uploaded twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. There are occasional bonus episodes covering unsolved cases and criminal history. If you have a suggestion for a case you think I should cover, leave it in the comments. You can always follow the channel on Instagram at thisis_monsters and purchase merch at thisismonsters.com. Thanks so much, and be safe.